哦，写的吧，哦，哇嘞，哦，写的吧，哦，哇嘞，哦，写的吧，哦，哇嘞，喊你share half done towdy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Monday Mailbox, where you, the community, can ask me any questions under the sun, and I will give my opinion on it. This week we're joined with Jondaliner, Long Arm John. He's here too, I promise.
Yeah, just a little quiet and hiding over here.
He's vibing. First question comes in, what is your controller button layout, or do you just use the default? John, I'm interested, what do you use?
So honestly, for me, I hold my controller super weird. I hold it like a weird funky claw style. So the controller layout I use is actually default. The only thing I change on it is my dead zone. I change it to 5. By default's at 20. I change it to 5. That way I can change my guard a little bit quicker. But aside from that, I use the default controls. I actually use my index finger for A, B, X, and Y, or XO, triangle, square, whatever it is, whatever you're playing on. So,
what sort of finger flexibility do you have, man? Oh my god.
It's whack, man. It comes from Call of Duty trick shot days when I didn't have a cool controller, and I wanted to learn how to do like 360s and stuff while jumping off buildings. So to like keep my thumb on the joystick while being able to jump and shoot. So I have a weird, deformed alien hand that could be confused with ET, and it's what I still play with to date. And it feels really weird when I switch to PlayStation because it's a different size controller, But yeah, that's what I use. It's weird. I don't recommend it. It's not the best way to do it. Just get a scuff or something.
Oh my! I'm messing with the controller right now. Like I can't even begin to put my hand like that. I got fat hands.
I've got very average.
I just use default. The only thing I changed is I adjusted my my guard positions very slightly because I kept hitting full guard, and then my dead zone set to 2. Like I hold my controller normally, like a normal human being. And
Don't judge me. Don't judge me. It works for what I need it for.
For doing your freaky maneuvers.
Pro game strats.
The only thing that changes is when I'm playing Highlander or Shaolin, whenever I go in Chi offensive stance, my index finger goes up to R1 and my middle finger goes up to R2. So I can have full access to all their kit. Which pisses my friend off because he hates the fact that zone is a 2-button input. And it was like, oh yeah, I just do it like whenever I'm an option selector, go into this. It's like, you go fuck yourself. Great time.
I bet.
Next question comes in. What place is Shaman in for you? Is she in a good or a bad spot? Or right in the middle? I'll take this one. I think Shaman is a very balanced hero. I think they can go one of two ways. Versus some people, she can be very present, very strong. I think most people are not going to have a problem with Shaman when they learn what she can and can't do, what her recoveries are, and whatnot. I do think she is a good hero by normal standards, and I personally lose to Shaman in any of my normal matchups, Janhu, Shaolin, Highlander. That's just me. I don't think she's too strong.
Okay.
What do you think, John?
Yeah. So, way I feel about Shaman, I think she is probably one of the strongest assassins in the game right now. Not to say she's overpowered, it's just the fact that she has so much variety in her kit. Mm-hmm. One, she's already super fast, so she can get anywhere. You can't run from Shaman. She's got multiple different ways to initiate the fight. That's pretty hard to react to for the most part. She's got a good setup for her team. I mean, she can bleed you, put you in the bite, you take 50 damage and eat 2 heavies and you're dead. She's really good competitively, and she's a really good noob stomper, so if you're new to the game, you go get Shaman, you're going to hate her and probably quit. But
right?
Yeah, but at the same time, she does have a high skill cap, meaning you can get super good with Shaman. And Shaman in the right hands, I think, is going to be really difficult, more than most characters. But I definitely wouldn't say she's overpowered, because she takes a lot of skill. And, I mean, honestly, she's just strong. And competitive, you should probably have a Shaman on your team.
It really helps. So, third question comes in. What is your favorite gear set for your main? I mean, full-on gear set, not picking and choosing. John, I'm going to let you go. What do you want? What do you like?
So for me, I'm a little bit biased. When I first got back into For Honor, I'm from beta, but I stopped playing from like season 1 through 4 because the servers were just complete garbage.
They were garbage.
I got back in. Yeah, they were so bad. But I joined back in, and Apollyon's Wolves was the new season. So I really got into the Apollyon gear set for my Lawbringer because I just thought it looked really slick. It was black. It had the gold trim on it. Everything looked sick with it. Same with the weapon. I like the Apollion's weapon with it. But I can't think of the name for the life of me right now. I know the armor set's called Dark Void. The weapon I can't think of right now, but it's from the Apollyon set, and I just think it looks slick. It's not too edgy, but it's still dark at the same time with that little bit of gold shimmer.
It looks nice.
It looks pretty sweet to me.
I can get down with that. I was a Lawbringer main back then. I've got that set. It's a nice set.
Oh yeah.
I have a couple of heroes I play consistently, but I'm just gonna stick to Highlander because it makes the most sense. I actually rock my favorite set right now. It's all of the same set. It's the Galaglass set. I used to have different arms and all that, but I've really grown on it. You don't see a lot of people running it. The materials tend to be brighter. It tends to be more colorful. Brighter colors show better on it. It's got gold trim on like the sleeves and the very bottom of the cape, and magnifique. And it's just, I am so into it.
Oh man, it's like the opposite of mine. Yours is all colorful and stuff. Mine's over here just dark with a gold trim. It's. I mean, Highlander's a more colorful character, anyways. Unless I just throw some spray paint on Lawbringer, and then I just look like I was vandalized by some kids. So.
Oh my god! Speaking of vandalism, so the only issue with the Galaglass set is that the face paint is a little garbo, but I love the hat and the beard, so it's like I deal with it. Because there are some colors that look really, really good on Highlander, like the Art of War, or was it Father of Understanding, the real dark red with black. But if you put that on Highlander with that armor, you give a black face, so you have to not use that color sense.
Oh my gosh!
Because it just covers his whole face.
That's awful.
I know. And I've gotten into very minor disputes because I used to use Big Ryer, which is a real dark green. And when you put that on Highlander, at first glance, it also looks like blackface. But if you study a little closer and use your eyes, it's green. That caused some misunderstandings in a couple places.
Oh my goodness, that's awful.
It's great.
Well, in a case like that, just add the unicorn ornament, and no one will even notice the blackface.
Like, why are you using?
I always use that. That is my go-to with Highlander.
You're a monster.
Because how it looks so dumb, and I love it.
It is dumb. It's a unicorn. You fuck.
It's great. Just go into a lobby with 3 of your friends. All of you use the unicorn ornament, and the other team will probably leave.
It's very intimidating.
Very.
Number 4 comes in. Do you think they'll add a way to add your progression from both consoles, if you're stuck on both, into one account when they add cross-platform play?
All right. For this one, the way I'll look at it, I think they're going to give you the option to link eventually, obviously so you can log in from any of the platforms. But I don't think they're going to give you a way to save your progress from different files. I don't think Ubisoft is going to put enough work into that to figure out how to mix profiles together, So, for example, I've got a level 30 or so account on PC and like a 250 or something like that on Xbox. Probably just going to have to keep the 250 Xbox account and use it on both. I don't expect them to find a way to merge it. Mm-hmm. We could be wrong. If they could merge it, that'd be great because I have gear from both of them I'd like to keep as well as progression from multiple heroes. But we'll just have to wait and find out once cross-platform does become a thing.
We actually have very similar opinions on this. Very, very similar thoughts.
Yeah,
I can't even come up with an argument against it. Like that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, not that I don't like or don't have faith in Ubisoft. I mean, if they're working across play, which they've talked about before, that'd be good. But most people don't have multiple platforms. Most people are going to have a PC or an Xbox or whatever to play with friends. So I don't expect them to give you the opportunity to mix profiles together. It just seems unrealistic to me.
It seems, yeah. Like I don't not trust Ubisoft. It definitely seems like the kind of shortcut they'd be okay making. Yeah,
it's not game breaking, and community is. We're not Call of Duty where you've got tens of millions of people playing still every day. So I don't expect them to go out of their way to make us feel better. considering Instant Rework took like 2 years after it was announced. I can't imagine cross-platform being perfect.
It took some finagling, but like we could have had that Instant Rework a lot sooner.
Yeah, considering they barely made any changes to it from testing ground, they just fixed a few little quality of life things on it. And that was about it. They didn't even change like anything else.
No, they gave them that big stamina thing, and then the only thing I can remember them changing is the parry punish into punch.
Yeah,
that was the only thing that I can remember changed.
Yep, that is the only thing I can think of. That and some of the damage numbers, because his lights used to do 17, 17, 17, and now it's like 15, 17, 18. And that's that with the charge punch. That's the only thing different I can think of. I don't think anything else changed.
Yeah. Next question comes in. What's your opinion on how the community handles feedback or suggestions? I didn't give inflection on that. There's actually, like, there's little bunny ears on each side of this, but little quotations. But I'll go and jump on this because I've been waiting for this type of question. I think for the most part, the community is pretty good about suggestions. And by that, I mean, like, just over half, like, I'm going to say 56 to 60% of them are like, yeah, that could be a thing. Like, if you suggest something like balance changes or new armor sets, the other percentage handles it very poorly because they don't like change and they want other things to happen. And the other things to happen, I totally sympathize. Like, you know, the dev team only has so much time to do on things, make it worthwhile. But balance changes, I think, are very valid from a lot of sources. Just because somebody is like new to the game, I would still like to hear out what they have an issue with and see if it's something that's on the fault of the character or if it's something on them. In the same moment, I would love to hear what the average or slightly more skilled than average person has to say about certain heroes, so that we have, I would say, a more general idea of balance and such. But I can't discredit any of those changes because I'm not a developer. But in the same time, some people have really bad ideas, like buffing Black Friar. And some people have really good ideas, like nerfing Black Friar. I would say in general, the people handle feedback well, depending on context. Balance changes is a bit rough. People do not handle faction suggestions very well at all, ever. Me included, I don't handle that idea very well. People are like, Korean faction, like, what about South American tribes? Like, what about Native Americans, which is a complex subject because that's a really big category, but I digress. So I think it's a little contextual, but what do you think about that little mini rant? What do you think, John?
Yeah, I mean, feedback, I definitely agree, is important. I mean, that's how the devs are going to get all their ideas for whatever needs to come to the game. I mean, a big example of feedback, and this actually became a meme, I don't know if you remember this, the glowing red eyes.
Yes!
I remember the guy who posted that initially with a Centurion said he would pay Ubisoft to put this in the game, and Ubisoft responded back in a tweet, "We're going to hold you to that." And then, like, a year and a half, 2 years later, they put it in the game, and that went around, like, everywhere. So,
they tweeted back at him.
They tweeted back at him. It was fantastic. So, as far as community feedback goes, I think it's very important. As far as creativity feedback goes, like, ideas for the game, it never hurts to suggest something for the game, as long as it's not just something completely just out of the loop, out of the game, like Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, gingerbread outfits jumping around. I don't want to see that in front.
Yeah, who would ever suggest a thing like that? Crazy.
But as far as that goes, man, I mean, creativity doesn't hurt, especially if it's something like Reddit, for the For Honor Reddit, where a lot of people can vote on it. I mean, they can see the community's feedback, what all they like to see. If there's a majority based on player base and whatnot, I mean, it doesn't hurt to try something out.
Yeah.
Now, as far as balance goes, balance is a little bit tricky, like you were saying. Like, you know, for example, and this is going to be probably the biggest one, I'm sure you understand it, Centurion, pre-rework. Everybody at the early stage thought Cent was just busted. Like, completely busted. Because when you're new to the game, you try to parry everything, and you don't dodge much. And Centurion would just punch you over and over and infinite combo you. And everybody's saying, nerf Centurion, he's busted, he ruins the game. Meanwhile, he wasn't busted. The only thing he had that was strong at the time was his ability to parry and get a good punish. Everything else was very easy to fight. So, feedback is important. I do want to say, as far as balance changes go, I think it is important to look at win rate at higher levels.
Oh, yeah.
Just because those are the people who are going to have, the most experience with the characters. And I don't even want to say, like, ranking-wise, maybe, like, win percentage or something, because, you'd be surprised. Somebody can play Orochi for 70 reps and still don't know what they're doing,
It's true.
But balance is a very important thing. I would say, as far as feedback goes from that, and I think Ubisoft's kind of doing it right. They're looking at like Platinum and above, which I think is a good ranking, because it's not like the highest ranking, but it's a high enough ranking to where the people probably know what they're doing with the character.
It's a skilled ranking. Like, you would expect people in that and above to know what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, for example, most of my characters personally are pretty low rep. They're like rep 3 or so. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, you got my Lawbringer rep 70, just because that's just who I am. I played him exclusively for a while. But I know how to use every character. Meanwhile, you may have this guy who's only played Conqueror for 30 reps and nobody else, and thinking he's a pro. Meanwhile, he doesn't know how to play the game because he doesn't know how any of the other characters work.
Right.
It's a tough call for feedback on balance, but they just really need to look at it from community as a whole, but primarily towards the top, because we don't want people buffing Warden, for example, in duels.
Ew.
Like a shoulder bash. I would hate to see that. He's the most played character with one of the lowest win rates because everybody plays him. All new people play him, but he doesn't need a buff in duels because he's probably the best character in duels.
Final question comes in: garlic bread or banana bread? Why didn't you take the lead on this, John?
Garlic bread, 100%, 1000%. Mm-hmm. Nothing against banana bread. Banana bread tastes amazing. But I personally really like Italian food. I love spaghetti. I love pasta in general. Garlic bread just goes good with like every kind of Italian food possible. You can put garlic bread in your pizza if you wanted to.
Good.
Banana bread requires effort to make sometimes. You have to get old ass bananas to put in, and you actually got to bake it. Meanwhile, garlic bread is just super easy to make. It goes good with so many things. Again, banana bread's great, but if I had to choose one, it would definitely be garlic bread, man. It's just the cherry on top. There we go. Let's go with that.
Yeah, we can go with that. I have totally mixed feelings because I love both. The only thing I don't like about banana bread is I don't like nuts in my banana bread, and every banana bread I've ever tasted has nuts in it. And I'm not a fan.
That's the good part.
I'm not a fan. It's a texture thing. But garlic bread.
It's a good texture.
Garlic bread is something magical. Two things that help factor into this: I don't have a sense of smell. I lost it like a decade and a half ago. So you cannot out garlic me. You can put so much garlic in there on that bread, and it's only gonna get better. People around me may not like it, but they can suck it. They don't have garlic bread. The other thing is I come from a Cuban family, which do not measure. They don't measure garlic in cloves. They measure it in bulbs. You just shove the whole thing into something. You just fill it with garlic. And I was a very garlicky kid growing up.
Oh man, everybody probably talked about how bad your breath stunk too.
But I couldn't smell, so I didn't care.
You're like the episode of SpongeBob where they're like walking around with the bad breath and wondering why everybody is like avoiding them. They think they're ugly. You're
oh my God.
Basically the real life version of that.
You know that reminds me. So there's a story that went around about a dude who would go to a juice store, like a juice bar, and get garlic juice, like a cup of it. He loved it. He loved it to death. But his boss made him work from home because when you eat that much garlic, you sweat garlic smell.
Oh,
you ooze garlic. That'll wrap up this week's Monday Mailbox. If you want to have your question answered next week, comment below underneath the video. Or if you're in my Discord, you can go to the Monday Mailbox tab. Thanks, John, for joining me. It was awesome having you.
Oh, yeah, dude. It was my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, man.
Of course.
We'll have to do a video or something soon.
Yes. I'll put a link to John's channel below, but you should know him by now. Anyways, we'll see you next week. Much love. Guard out. Hey everyone, thank you for watching. I invite you to join my Discord, links in the description. If you want to help support the channel, donation and Patreon links are down below. Much love, guard out.